The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Joined your channel.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy, the official podcast for single women over 35. Who I am Candace Harper, lovecoach.com, coming to you live from the V Club. Yay! I teach and inspire audacious intimacy of powerful, professional, grown women who want real relationships from seductive singlehoods. And more importantly, I help single women over 35 who have given up on love stand boldly in their purpose and stop getting ghosted and create unconditional love. I see Angela's joining us, Brandon's joining us, Lee, Billy has joined us. That's a new yay, new people. Woo! So like I said, we're coming to you live from the V Club, one of my favorite places to be. The V Club is a gorgeous venue in the heart of Chelsea where women take classes, workshops, and attend events around sex and relationships. And you can check out the V Club by going to thevclub.com and see what's on the calendar. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a workshop on January 19th, which I'll tell you about later. But if you are tuning in out in the interwebs globally on Armed Radio, you might be on your TuneIn app, or maybe you're listening in the garden on armedradioglobal.com. We're also now available on iHeartRadio, so if you have an Alexa, you can ask for Candy and join the conversation. Or perhaps you are joining us live on Facebook. I see Janine just came in, and my Lee is here. Yay, Lee! We love Lee. You guys know from listening. So if you're on Facebook Live, you know that you can participate in this conversation and that we interact. We love you. I see Angela says, hi, Candace. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, love. Lee says, what's up? Lee. First of all, Lee and I went to high school together. You know that we're from the 80s and 90s if we're saying what's up. So you can join in the conversation, Facebook Live, talk to us, interact, and you can call in 1-800-508-5431 if you have a burning desire and you want to get on the show too. If you're going to call us, don't be calling us with nothing crazy, because I'm not afraid to hang up on you if you're talking about some off-topic stuff. Anyway, and you can also, if you're shy, you can email it, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. Those questions we will answer in a later broadcast, or those topics. So like I said, I'm Candace Harper, lovecoach.com. My talent is conversation. My passion is personal growth. My purpose is to teach and inspire radical self-acceptance in myself and others so that we can all have our best possible love life. And what this show is about, it is 2019 and it is time to level up, honey. So we are putting some format in place, and we were just talking about it. Hi, Brian, who just joined. Janine says, hi there, just stopping for a quick hello, celebrating Orthodox Christmas with some close friends and family. Just wanted to say hi, and I'll see you next week. I love that, Janine. I see. You don't have to sit, right? Pam says, hey, Janine. Hey. You don't have to stay for the whole hour. The fact that you showed up, just said hi, wished us some love. We love that, right, ladies? Yeah. And Lee says, much love, missed everyone over the holidays. We missed you too, Lee, but it's a new year. We're looking forward. We're going to be together. We're not even worried about it. So what we're going to be doing every month, the first Monday of every month, we're going to be doing the Monday Quora Q&A. And those of you who've been listening, you know that every now and then we do a Monday, it's always on Monday, but we do a Quora Q&A. Now it's going to be the first Monday of every month of Quora. Those of you who don't know about Quora, it's a website where people can anonymously just ask questions. So you have no idea where these people are from or how old they are or, culturally who they are. They just ask a random question, and what we get to do is decipher an answer based on our own perspective, our own experiences, whatever that question may make us feel, whatever resonates with us, whatever doesn't. We get to use that question to incite a juicy conversation. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. But just remember that this is a conversation. We're not here to hand down a bunch of rules and laws and things about, what you're supposed to be doing around dating, right? We talk about that every week. This is really about a no shame, judgment-free zone where we get to talk about what we're up to, what our perspectives are, what we love, what we're interested in. And if something that we say resonates with you, you know, or something that you share with us resonates with us, then it's all the better because we get to have that connection. So what do you guys think about just jumping in?
Yes.
And just starting the questioning and starting the conversation. I see my Valerie has joined. What's up, Valerie? And you guys are welcome to join in. We're going to pick the questions out of a bowl. Oh, and by the way, tonight I have Jamie, I have Barbara, I have Pam, and I have Steve who's coming back. He's trying to do something on the phone because, you know, men are very important and busy. And I have Kenya here. She's not going to be on the Facebook Live, but for the audio people, I know she's going to join in the conversation. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this bowl.
What's that?
Oh, Maria, I'm sorry, my darling Maria and lovely Maria in the background. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to miss you. That means you get to pick the first question. Right? So what we did was we took these Quora questions that I just randomly picked just because they sounded like good conversation starters, and we folded them up and put them in a bowl. So anything could come up. Are you ladies ready?
We're ready.
All right, we're going to have Maria. Hi, Tanya just joined us. We're going to have Maria be the first one to pick a question.
Okay. All right. Oh, boy.
Read it loud and proud, Maria.
Jeez.
And remember, you don't have to be the only one to answer. If it's like a hard one,
maybe a hard one for me.
We can share. We're sharing.
So
the
I'll
answer.
read the question.
Mm-hmm.
It's under the headline Dating and Relationships.
Mm-hmm.
What's the deepest, most honest, and romantic thing you have ever said and truly meant to someone?
Wow.
Anybody want to raise their hand on that one?
That kind of takes you
It's hard.
You got to go on a memory lane trip, I feel like. With
I
that
think mine's coming in the future.
Yeah, right? So say it again. What is the deepest?
What is the deepest, most honest, and romantic thing you have ever said and truly meant to someone? And I think why I can't answer this question is I might have been afraid to be so vulnerable, to put myself at risk of really opening up and saying something so open and vulnerable and intimate. Although I say I'm happy to report that's all changing, enjoying it. So I look forward to being able to answer this question in a few months.
Oh, I love that, Maria. I love that.
But maybe there's someone here that can.
Right. What comes up for me is this thing around, which is something that I definitely have been challenged by in relationships, is 1 foot out and 1 foot in, kind of like riding the fence of commitment. And so I think for me, the deepest, most honest or romantic thing that I've ever said is when I was in a 13-year relationship, and it took about 5 or 6 years, and I was in my 20s, so I was pretty young. It took about 5 or 6 years before I was ready to actually voice that I was committed to the relationship and claim the relationship. And, then in my 20s, I had very much an ownership mentality around relationships. So it's basically like, you're my person. Like being able to actually say that to someone, and it speaks to what Maria was talking about with vulnerability, like just too afraid to go ahead and just say, I'm in this 100%. So I think that's probably the deepest, most honest thing that I've ever said to anyone. I am in this 100%. Yeah, I don't know. There you have it. But like Maria, I feel like I'm going to say it and mean it even more in the future, because now I've been on this long journey of learning and growth and, coming from a place of really knowing who I am. I think in my 20s, I had a different sense of myself. Now I'm like, if I claim you, you're mine, honey. That's it.
Claim myself.
Right? Exactly. Anybody else want to field this one?
Yeah, I think I'm going.
Steve didn't get to hear it.
Okay, so
he might want
the
to.
question is, what is the deepest, most honest and romantic thing you've ever said and truly meant to someone?
He's like, I haven't said that yet.
Okay, so, my orientation when I was in, 20s and 30s, when we talk about romance and intimate relationships, it was, for me, to some extent, what that person could do for me. I think now as a woman over 50 who's had the benefit of living, of loving successfully and unsuccessfully, that it's about being a better me and letting, my partner know that because of his presence in my life, I am the best version of who I am, and it's not about what he does, or I can't stand this term, but bring to the table. I can't stand the term.
Why? Tell us.
But I really can't.
Because people use it like what he brings to the table, it's sort of like an external materialistic kind of usually.
Right. And it's really not. It is. It's about the compliment. It is always about the compliment and being more with someone else than we can be as solo acts. And vibing and grooving in that compliment and not that completion.
I like that. Compliment, not completion. Yes, honey. Some nuggets.
I like that.
Anybody else want to field that one?
I'm trying to think of something really, really deep and honest and romantic. I'm in a really healthy relationship for maybe the first time in my life where I'm getting remarried and it's coming up. And I think, we say things all the time that are really passionate to each other, and I'm trying to think of one thing that came to my mind is my partner right now is the first man that I've ever wanted to have kids with, so I think telling him, I want you to be the father of my children was a pretty vulnerable thing to say. Thank goodness he feels the same way. Thankfully, but and I mean that with all my heart. So I think that was a big deal. And then my partner reminds me of something that I said to him, which I don't necessarily remember the moment so well, but he remembers this and brings it up a lot, which was in the first couple of months, maybe 2 or 3 months in, spending a lot of time together, and I said something about how, this time that we're spending, we were sort of long distance dating, and I said this time that we're spending together is really special for our growth together, and that really stuck with him, and he kind of brings that up as a sort of a moment where I was teaching him how special we were together, because he was sort of with it, but not completely with it. I always take credit for the one who knew. I knew we were meant to be possibly in the first few moments we were together, but
And by sharing yourself, you alerted him to it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, thank you for sharing that. Now I realize I feel that way too.
I think so, yeah. I think that's what he's getting at.
And also, the first time you tell your partner, I love you, and mean it, because I think that our concept of love and loving is different as we mature. And being able to say, and it's not about what you do, it's just your essence and your being, and that you allow to be. And that there's no subterfuge, there's no mask, there's no pretending, that I can be the person that I am, and with you, and, be that girl.
Love that, Pam. Woo! That's a good point. Lee has something. Lee says, I recently said, I've been through many painful and hurtful things. I am thankful for your love, our constant communication, trust, and love. I am trusting you with my heart to hold as I myself hold yours, to respect and protect it as if it were my own. Damn, Lee! You put it down, honey. Yes. I love that. That's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Well, offline, you have to tell me who she was, because I gotta be up. I gotta know what's going on with you. Anyway, so are we ready? Are we ready to move to the next question?
Oh, I was gonna.
Oh, you have something, Barbara? Please, honey, by all means, jump on in there.
So for me, I'm a therapist and a coach, and I've been working with relationships for many years, and I've had 5 relationships in my life, best friends with all other than the first. And for me, it's like, I say that we live in an insane asylum because just about everything that we're told or that we're, taught is a lie. And when you look at relationships, especially women, how did we grow up? With Cinderella and, Snow White.
Fairy tales.
Yes, Barbie. And your prince is going to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be this, happy ever after.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing lie.
Yeah.
And when you buy that lie, then you're looking to create that lie.
Yeah.
And then what shows up is reality. But to us, that reality, it's like we look for results. And results can only be from the past.
Yeah.
So you're always duplicating the energy of what relationship was, which is not going to get us that
All
far.
right. The same thing over and over again.
Exactly.
It's how we meet the same person in a different body.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Been there.
You again?
Right? Exactly.
So the idea is, what if we can create something from a place in front of us, or I shouldn't say in front because there's no time, but beyond where we've ever been, that could actually work. And so what if relationship has nothing to do with what we were taught? And so for me, as I said, I've been in 5 major relationships, but there was one, and to this day, and we haven't been together for over 20 years, we're best friends.
Yeah.
We are on the phone at least a few times a day. But the thing that for me was so amazing, and even now, because I'm single now and I'm looking,
Gentlemen.
but
Lovely.
my number one thing is to have like a best friend. And so it's where you could show up in total allowance of the other person.
Yeah.
Okay, with no judgment.
Yeah.
Just to receive them however they are.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's
I love
really
it.
the secret of living, because that's what consciousness is.
Yeah.
It's just being present and in allowance with whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And so therefore what happens is there's no wrong. No one could be wrong.
Yeah.
Because whatever anyone else is doing in relationship, it's like, okay, so just be an allowance.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work for you, leave.
Yeah.
And that way you start to create a relationship, just as this relationship was, where we were just best friends, we're still best friends. And just being able to have that space is amazing.
Ease. I always say
Yes,
ease.
it's ease. And it's just a knowing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, while you're growing, it's like you're allowing that person not to stay how they were, because let's face it, nobody will, which is why there are so many divorces.
Yeah.
If you could just be an allowance of that change with no judgment, do about it.
Yes.
Conscious relationships.
I love
says a relationship is great when it's a contribution to your life, not a replacement for it. It contributes to you, not
Yes.
takes away from you. Not
Absolutely.
you don't make yourself small. Stay in it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's another thing, especially with women.
Yeah.
Most women are always giving themselves up because that's how we were programmed, that's what we were taught. So there is no you. So all of a sudden you're in the relationship for so long, and where are you? You're gone.
Yeah.
And then forget about it. Then
Yes.
it becomes kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like there's women in my life, or women that I've known, women that I've worked with, that are in that exact space in their journey where it's like, I've given. Even I think about my mother and, that generation especially, it's like, that's what you did, right? You gave up for your kids, you gave up for your husband, you had nothing for yourself. And I think that what ends up happening is that you get to a space where you're just like, who am I and what can I do? And if you don't find that answer, or if you're not willing to go on that journey to find that answer, it's this feeling of like dissatisfaction and empty and dissatisfied with everything.
It's very scary to go on that journey, though, because as Barbara says, when we change, we can grow apart.
Yeah.
And if you raise your vibration and you're in a relationship with someone who is at a lower fear, let's say in a lot of fear, and you raise you won't stay together. So the women who are in marriage are afraid maybe to change because if they self-empower,
they might lose everything.
They might lose their husbands. And that's also another lie, right? That we have to stay married forever.
Yeah.
Like, why would you give yourself up to maintain a marriage?
Yeah.
Yes. And that lie is changing. So the newer generations, most of them aren't even going to be married because they see that it doesn't work. So my question always is when I'm working with someone, what if relationship is not what you thought it was?
Yeah.
What if it's something that you create as you're living? And that means it could change at any time. And at any time, if, like for me, you know, I'm best friends, so it's like clearly it changed. I still love you, but it's not working right now because we both changed.
But you both had to be open to like the reforming, the remolding, the growth of what was happening.
Absolutely.
Right?
And the definition, the redefinition of stuff, right? And embracing the concept of change and accepting it as something that is vital, as you know, that we are not here to be stagnant, that our essence and who we are is dynamic and it's always going to change. And that's the wonderful thing about living, that we're not married to what is right now.
And isn't it amazing that we live on a planet where people, probably the greatest fear is change. You know, it's like years ago, they, you know, well, it was men mostly at the time, they would work in a company and get the gold watch at like 50 years. And nowadays people do 3 things at the same time or keep moving, and the older people say to them,
when they got I'm approaching my 30th year of my job, so anyway.
Well, yes, and that's wonderful. But for the people who are changing, then they hear from the older people, well, what's wrong with you? How could you, why do you keep changing? Meaning there has to be something wrong with you, rather than how cool is that you embrace change, that you're growing and becoming so much more and can become that. So,
see, I should have known. We've gotten through one question, y'all, and we're already close to 8:30. And I should have known when I bring my powerful, prolific women, the conversation keeps. And you too, Steve. I know you're powerful and prolific too. The conversation gets going, and the content gets thrown out the window. But that's okay. It's good. You guys, who's coming in? And we got Michael, we got Kevin, we got Amy. Welcome, you guys. Should we now go to another question? Are you ready? Are you ready? I know we could do
another half an hour up.
Right? Right? I know we can do so much more with even the one we already have. Who wants to pick Barbara? Pam? All right, Pam, get in there, honey.
Okay.
Oh, this is so prolific.
Okay.
Okay. So what's the difference between a relationship and dating?
Oh, I like that question.
I like this one.
Yeah.
So I think with dating, you're spending time, but there is not the element of moving forward, and maybe not so much, and there's a difference if we talk about situationships and all of that. But I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and you spend time, you go out, you go to the movies, you have coffee, you have dinner, but at the end of your time together, that's it, until the next time. I think with the relationship that there is an understanding, further or deeper commitment and intimacy, and getting to know that person beyond the surface, and taking the time and taking the energies and the interest and being, and also I think one of the defining elements or between a dating and a relationship is the person willing to be influenced.
That's interesting.
Can I talk? Listen, talking to somebody. Listen, if I'm dating someone and we're just kind of hanging out, does this person consider what it is that I have to say, one, and two, is that person willing to be moved, compelled to be moved based upon what it is that I've said or what it is that I mean. I think they've done studies that in terms of longevity in relationships, it is not the amount of time that you spent with the person, it's whether or not that person, your partner, is willing to be moved and to be influenced by what it is that you need and what you say and what you glean from the relationship.
I have a question about that though, because I don't necessarily disagree, but I have a thing about attachment to what the other person does that I think is like a slippery slope. So how like when you thinking in terms of can this person be moved, it's like, you know, I don't know, I have this aversion to putting myself in a position of looking for mile markers and looking for signs that a person is doing certain things.
But it's just a matter, it's like, listen, with your children. Your children say, you know, mommy, I need, or daddy, I need, or can I? And you, whatever it is, you know, or your niece, or someone that you love, you're willing to move, you know, whatever it is that you have to do in order to address that need. So I'm not saying that it's concrete, and I get it, you know, with the milestones.
What are you looking for in order to indicate that person is movable? I feel like sometimes our perception can fool us if we're looking for what looks like movable or what looks like influenceable. I feel like sometimes.
But you just want, I don't know how to say this, but there's just, you know, you just want to do things.
You want to do things for you.
For you.
Yeah.
And not being putting, you know, a label on it. But you just, you know, when you see something, you're like, oh. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like when maybe you could give an example, like if you're dating someone and they're really into the ASPCA and that's just something you know about them, but you're casually dating them. For their birthday, you might not do anything for that foundation but if you're in a relationship and you know that person loves the ASPCA so much, but you might give a donation
or adopt
to the ASPCA, you know, like you adopted a cow, something romantic and thoughtful.
And not because you have to,
because it matters to them.
Right, that it's not, I think it's
not
about
like you're
loving,
you're honoring.
And being sacrificial.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's being sacrificial. I just get that my happiness is tied to and your happiness. And that I want to be a part of that. I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Go ahead, Barbara.
That my happiness is tied to your happiness. That makes me a little.
I do have
It's not in the literal sense.
Okay.
Like, because codependency is like, there's a
I'm
fine
not
line,
saying that.
you
I'm not
know?
even saying that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know something, it's the joy that you receive.
Right.
Right?
From knowing the person is
From
happy.
knowing that the person is happy.
Gotcha.
I get
Okay,
that.
and then
Yes.
and it's not like I'm tied to you,
Right.
you know.
I can't be
Like,
bad
that's
if you're not.
not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But there's-
if I may, it's
Yes.
caring about the other person's
Right.
happiness.
Right.
Not necessarily my happiness is tied to you.
Right, but
Yeah.
But I
yeah,
care that you're happy.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
And you can care that somebody's happy not being in a relationship.
Sure, I think, I think that we need more.
Yeah.
I want everybody to be happy.
We need more of that.
And you can care that somebody's happy and still be happy if they decide not to be happy. Right? Like, I care that you're happy, but if you don't want to be, I don't need to force you to be happy.
So-
We want the best for those that we love.
Totally.
And I like the analogy you used with children, and I think, you know, having children teaches you what love really is. Because I think people like to draw these imaginary lines about, you know, this is romantic love, but, you know, your love for your children is different, and I don't buy that. Love is love, and when you have children, you know what love is, with removing all that baggage and attachment that comes with the romantic part of
It's
love.
pure.
So I want the best for my children. I want my children to be happy. And that's the same thing you should want from me.
Right.
If you're gonna, otherwise, why
That
attach
means
yourself?
leading you.
Exactly.
That means leading you to be happy, right?
Right.
I mean, I had somebody ask me, do you love her enough to let her go?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Not every man's answer is yes, or every man's answer is yes, because
Yeah.
they don't love themselves enough to let that person go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, and that's something, the body of work I facilitate is called Access Consciousness, in 174 countries, and it's the leading edge of consciousness on the planet, which is not, most people have no clue about what consciousness is, living in allowance with no point of view.
Yeah.
But the thing about, as you were saying, I love this person so much, I want them to be happy. But this is where you start to get into that lie of reality. Because we look at right or wrong, which is judgment. What if there is no right or wrong? What if there is just what is, and then what you do and be with it?
Yeah.
So I could tell you that I just went through a year, which if I wasn't doing what I'm doing and know what I know, I would say it was the worst year of my life. Okay? However, in that year, okay, if I didn't look at it as a result, because a result can only come from the past.
Right.
So it's like, and I asked for what else is possible. I want more and bigger and better of me. So in actuality, that year, last year, I wrote my newest book. I had a major healing with my daughter, and I found a part of me that I had how to come out. So what if relationship is not the old paradigm of what relationship is? What if it's just being with someone and loving them, but it's just what is, and to totally be in allowance of however they show up. And the thing is, if it doesn't work for you, and it's like, I love you, but it's not working.
It's not binding.
And I'm moving on. And this is where we're going. So what if life could have that ease to it?
Yeah.
Everything would change in a nanosecond.
Right. My prayer, my consistent prayer is, Lord, move me beyond the world. I don't need, why does not help me? I need to get to this and be okay right now. I just need to be. It is.
Yes. And when you are okay right there, when you let go of the fear,
Speak louder, ladies.
when you are in that moment, when you are in that moment where you can let go of fear, just look at, what is this? What can I do with it? How can I change? The universe, we are simply molecules of consciousness. The universe rushes in and it will be there. You ask a question to the universe. The universe has been run on algorithms. A question is an algorithm interrupt. When you put a question out to the universe, the energy that matches the question comes to you. It's magic. And then all of a sudden, there's a new possibility that could not have been there before unless you were in allowance.
Yeah.
You asked a question.
Yeah. I gotta say, Barbara is preaching a little bit. Pam's preaching a little bit. I totally agree with you about these. Like, I have a similar thing, Barbara, where the last year, if I were looking at it from an unconscious space, which I was in previously, it would have been like, that year was hell. But when I look at it from where I am, it's like everything is an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Low and in between.
Right? No, it's good. It's good. Y'all! We got 8 questions. And it's what? Oh, we're doing all right. I'm not going to keep watching the clock. All right, let's do another one just so we can get them in. Steve, you want to pick?
I'll read it. I'm not.
Oh, you see what it says. See what it says. You never know.
When it comes to dating and relationships nowadays, what is it that men bring to the table?
Perfect. The universe.
Trigger for Pam.
What is true faithfulness?
Is there 2 on that?
Faithfulness as in fidelity, or are we talking about faithfulness?
I might have cut that one up like that. So there's 2. You can pick one, but I feel like I hope you pick the one about men.
Why don't we tackle
Without
without trying to
to
go
the table.
without trying to go to 9 o'clock? when it comes to dating and relationships nowadays, what is it that men bring to the table?
There's that phrase you hate.
And I don't think that's a question for a man. I mean, that's like.
Well, I think it could be. It's however we want to interpret it, because it could be an asking of women what they should or what they think they should, or it could be a man's point of view of like, you know, what is my purpose and how do I show up and why do I show up that way? Mm-hmm. It could, however we want to interpret it. That's the thing about Quora. It's our world. We can make the questions whatever we want them to be.
Who wants to jump?
Steve's like, I'm trying to get out of this question. You know?
Outside in from a masculine point of view is
okay.
But you know that question, because I've had men ask me that question, and you know my response is I'm the fine china and the crystal and the silverware. Listen. I'm not the table, I'm the damn kitchen, the great room, the 3-car garage, everything of value on this particular property. And I think with men need and that's what they bring to the table. It's not a material, you know, thing. I think it's a statement of an exploration of your worth. You know, whether or not, are you less a man because, you know, you work a job that pays minimum wage as opposed to someone that is, you know, a multi-millionaire? Are you any less as you know, as a man? I think that I think that I am as equally offended for a question like that posed to men as a man posing that question.
It is an awkward question. It almost begs, what value does a man have?
Beyond the law.
Beyond I don't even know.
Which I love. I love that you said that.
It's an intimate partner, or if it's I don't know.
I don't like that.
I love that you said that, Steve. Though it almost begs, what value does a man have? Because I do think that for both men and women, the only thing we can bring to the table is our own fulfillment, like our own already filled up. So you know, it's what's really important that I think a lot of times we sort of gloss over in the conversation of, you know, what is this person bringing to me and how are they going to show up and all of that, is that we're not focusing on what we all should be focusing on, is that if I'm getting in this relationship, it's because I'm already in a good relationship with myself. I say, just bring me that.
Right.
If we're going to get together, just bring me you loving you.
And I think,
God will be happy.
if we looked at this question, I mean, it is kind of, I mean, if we phrase this question and we said, when it comes to dating and relationships nowadays, what is it that women bring to the table? We've got to be offended by that.
Right?
So, I think
It's an expectation.
Yeah.
And I harp on this a lot, and you've done something very important. We tend to get what we attract.
Yeah.
High value men don't want low value women, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And low value behaviors. So it goes into that. I think we touched on it earlier. Working on yourself, being as complete as you can be, and attracting somebody like you.
Yeah.
So what a man brings to the table is probably going to be commensurate with what you bring to the table.
I totally agree. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
We attract our mirrors.
That's probably the best way to answer
that was a man nugget. Steve just dropped a man nugget.
Because if you're not of equal value to me, and I don't like to, I mean, it's a construct to talk about the idea. I don't talk literally in terms of value.
But it's not quantitative.
It's not quantitative, it's qualitative. But I'm not going to yoke myself to you.
Yeah.
If you're of lower value, if you've got problems in your life, you don't have your stuff together, and your life is in turmoil, and I've got my stuff together, we're not going to match up even if I'm attracted to you. And I think that goes both ways for men and women. We're going to attract pretty much and yoke up to who we're like.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Bart? Thank you for that, Steve.
Well,
what are you going to say, Bart?
I was going to say, what is that sentence again? How does a man...
When it comes to dating and relationships nowadays, what is it that men bring to the table?
Okay, so again, remember, if we want this world to survive, we need consciousness, which means that the old has to be finished. So what if there is no question like that? What do they bring to the table? What if they can bring anything, that there's no specific, a man brings this and a woman brings this? And one of the things, I was having a conversation with my friend the other day who came to visit, and she lives in Portland, which is where I just came from.
Yeah.
And I say one of the things that they're very open about there, besides what is tattoos, food, transgender. And so she's a writer, and she was writing an article, and so she went to meet a lot of these transgender people, and I have many friends in Portland who are also. But what she said, which I found so interesting, in that community now, when they speak about themselves or the other, they use the word they. They use the plural. Mm-hmm. So, what are they doing? So how amazing when you think about it. It's like, there's two parts of me.
Yeah.
That's what they're basically, yes.
Yeah.
And so this is how everything is changing. So how about if we take that sentence and that whole concept, throw it out the window, and they're going to bring whatever they're going to bring.
Yeah.
And you could be an allowance of it. What kind of, instead of relationship, because relationship actually means the distance between 2 points. Okay, now why would you want to have a distance between 2 points with someone? Have a communion. So what if the new possibility is creating communion in total allowance?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Watch the magic.
Right? Anything
Well,
is
you said,
possible.
you said allowance, and this harkens back to the first question, what's the most romantic thing you're doing? When you're saying allowance, I would call it intimacy, vulnerability. And that's where the true romance, ability to tell that story that maybe you don't even tell yourself sometimes. The stories we tell are not always accurate.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
we tell stories to make sense of our lives, but those things that are really deep to us, those things that you share, that's authenticity, that's connection, that's intimacy, and ultimately that's romance. Because when I think of romance, I think of nice words and nice gestures. But love is an action, it's a verb, right? Action is giving, like we talked about earlier. It's loving somebody as maybe you love your child, right? And romance is in that deep, authentic connection where you can both be vulnerable, where you don't have to try to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And that requires courage.
How cool is that?
It requires courage, and it requires a little bit of what I think you're talking about, and that's loving without attachment.
Yes, allowance.
To be able to live with an outcome that may not be what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's still okay.
Because you have no result.
Yeah.
Because if the outcome isn't what you want,
Right.
it shouldn't be there anyway.
Right. Well, but what if there is no outcome? What if there's just every moment and the possibility it can create?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Life would be
Journey.
totally
We're going to
different.
burn this one. It had a two-part answer. What is true faithfulness?
Well, I think this is a separate question. You don't like what is true faithfulness?
No, I didn't like that one.
Not even as an exploration?
Oh, you get your.
We'll pick a new one. We'll pick a new one.
It's a hot topic.
We got a little time. I see Rich joined us. I see my Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Lee Schultz says, I agree. The presence of intimacy in the relationship makes romance and the entire relationship so much more amazing. Yes, Lee Schultz. See, our men are vibing together. I knew that would happen. It's good. Start a little bromance. Anyway, who's next?
Well, you didn't get to
I'm
pick
going to
one.
pick. Kina, you want to pick? Jamie, did you get to pick?
Go ahead, pick one.
You pick.
Did you?
You want to borrow mine?
Oh, it's big.
Are we generally better or worse off if we wait until we fall in love to have our first full sexual experience?
Ooh.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Including what year was that?
There's a lot to unpack
That's when
there.
you can kind of guess like that your demographic is younger. When the questions are centered around like first experience. But that's what we're here for, because there's people out there who are
Yes.
of that age range who are like,
Absolutely.
some of them feeling a lot of shame around it, a lot of, what should I do, what shouldn't I do, the right and wrong story, all of that stuff. So it's definitely worth unpacking, right? I think. Who wants to tackle it? Radio silence, people. Go ahead, Maria.
I think it really, in today's day, women who are, and it depends, I imagine that a woman might have asked this, but it could have been a man.
Yeah.
But I imagine, knowing our culture and conditioning and so forth, it might have been a woman who asked that. We tend to romanticize the first experience. Mm-hmm. We tend to think, it's going to be wonderful if it's with someone we love, and that's not necessarily the truth.
Yeah.
And someone we just have raw chemistry with and are, excited about and flirting with and not in love with can be an amazing first sexual experience.
Yeah.
So I think it's, you have to ask yourself the question, what are my expectations? What do I think comes with love and a first sexual encounter? Am I really considering everything here? Am I making myself wrong for wanting to have sex now because I'm just dying to have sex and there's nobody I love in the picture? I mean, what if that's the truth, your truth, and what's that? If that's the case, then go for it.
Yeah.
Why would you wait? And then it has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with sex and enjoying like Gary Douglas always says, sex is the most fun you can have in a body.
Oh.
And if you know that that's the most fun you can have in a body, and we're here for a limited time, get on to having fun in your body and whatever that would look like for you. But I think you have to ask the question to yourself, knowing whether or not you're using past history and judgment and fear, or are you living in the possibility of what the best first sexual encounter could be for you, with no strings attached, with no conclusions.
Yeah.
And whose point of view was that?
And well, we can make that up. We could go from
No, I'm saying for the person asking the question.
Yeah.
Is that your parents? Is that your grandparents? Or is it yours?
Yeah.
Okay, because the younger people nowadays, okay, they're not there. They're just in, I'm a sexual being, and you're on planet Earth, okay, we're humans so that we can experience the physical.
Yeah.
Okay, when you leave here, your molecules of consciousness, you don't have a body.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so what would it take for you to not make it wrong? And everywhere that you bought someone else's lie, that there's something not really right about it, you want to wait for that whatever, just look at it, whoever you are, look at it and see, does this work for me? Really? Because it's me, not them.
I love that you say that, Barbara, because I really believe this so strongly, that just the fact that we as human beings biologically get to a place where we hormonally start to desire sex, I think that it is an opportunity for us to begin the practice of really listening to our intuition. And so I think when it comes to this sexual question, and I know that if I were talking to my 19-year-old self, because that's when I first got sexually active, what I would say to my 19-year-old self is just to make sure that you feel that it's something you want 100%. And if you're doing that and you're listening to your gut, listening to what's inside of you, and that you feel that the person that you're going to be with is someone that you want to have a physical connection with, but you're not attached to what's going to happen afterwards. Like it's someone that you feel a desire for and you feel a strong desire within yourself to do it. I feel like that it's always about listening to your gut and your intuition, and it's an opportunity to start that practice of tapping into yourself and doing a gut check and doing an inner check on what your inner self is telling you.
And you mentioned something. So our body is actually inside of ourselves. We're just molecules of consciousness.
Yeah.
And so the body is actually more conscious than you are. And you can ask anything, but you can so you ask your body, who would you like to play with?
Yeah.
Okay, if I have sex with this person, would it work? Would it make you feel fantastic, and would it be playful, and you'll get an awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, I could teach a trick. But
we'll have to do that on another.
Yeah, but the point is just ask your body and you will get the awareness.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to any other person, because as I say, when you ask people questions, it's like going inside the insane asylum. So would you go to an inmate in the insane asylum and say, excuse me, I have a tax issue, could you help me with my taxes?
Yeah.
It sounds insane, but we do this with people.
Yeah.
Go to your own awareness.
Yeah.
Go to the universe.
And eat it. Because I feel like, especially a lot of times, You know, I can speak for women. I can't necessarily speak for men. Maybe you can, Steve, on this. I feel like with women, a lot of times we ignore the intuition and we do, okay, good. Okay. That's good to know. Like we ignored we might ask the question and then ignore it and do something based on what we think will please someone else, or, you know, will have us attached to something or have some sort of outcome, like what Maria was talking about.
But that's what we've been trained to.
Totally.
Nobody told us about the innate knowing and awareness we have.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to go to school and you'd be brighter, because you're going to pull in everything that has to do with your energy and what you're giving it.
Yeah, I love it.
All right.
We've gotten through 4 questions because we have, right? I think we have time for one more. Let's see, Miles joined us. Hi, Miles. All right, you have the bowl? Jamie, did you pick one yet? I don't know if you picked one
I've been
yet.
very quiet because I am in agreement with everyone else.
Right? Taking it all in.
And you're saving your voice.
There's like so much juicy goodness in this. I feel like we're just taking it in. Go
Oh,
ahead,
I think
Jamie.
We already did that.
We did that
Yeah.
one? Oh, I need a new one.
It's a duplicate. Oh, well, this is kind of what we're talking about. Does the law of attraction really work in the case of love? I say yes.
Yes.
Done and done. Yeah, it's just what everybody's been talking about tonight. So it goes back to you. It goes back to tuning in with your own wisdom and, you know, making sure that you are at a high vibration. So whatever that means on a daily basis, you know, grounding yourself, meditating, yoga, writing in your journal, whatever that is to center yourself, is a really good thing to do on a daily basis, because that means it's more likely you're going to attract somebody at that frequency. So you can do that with anything, and love is really powerful. So I think use it for love.
Yeah.
Definitely. I did.
I love it. And it also goes back to what Steve was mentioning, how we attract ourselves. Like, I believe that with the law of attraction, it's like whatever, when we were talking about this earlier, Kenya, it's like, you know, whatever Jamie said vibration, whatever you're focusing on, whatever is your framework for how you navigate, all of that we attract that in other people. And we definitely attract people who, if there's unhealed things, are there to trigger it. Right? Yeah, I mean, it works. The law of attraction works, but if you're thinking that because you've made up this person that you want to have, but then you're still focusing on all the things that you don't want, like, that's how it works. Whatever you're focusing on and whatever you're doing, whatever you're bringing in, however you're being, I feel like it really does bring that. And being a single person who's dating, what I have found is the higher I raise my vibration, the more I allow myself to have ease and get out of the struggle panty story, I call it. More I get out of that story and just, allow myself to have fun, the more I meet people who are down for fun. And, people who are on that wavelength and want to be excited about it and, have enthusiasm.
And that's why I've said this before, but we don't have a problem answering when someone asks us, well, what is it that you want? And usually we respond to that question by, well, I know I don't want this.
Yes.
And
we were talking about that.
But we don't spend enough time focusing on what it is that brings us joy,
yes,
that brings us happiness, that brings us satisfaction, so that we have that sense of establishment. And that's something, and you're right, we attract, we want to see what you call high value and low value. But do we take the time to be self-reflective and introspective and be the person that we want, that we're looking for? And that's where, in that attraction, for this year, I'm living the agreements. I want to be a person of my word. Not
the 4 agreements?
The 5, girl, there's 5.
There's 5 now?
There's 5.
Where have I been?
And the 5th agreement is, we can be open, but we can be skeptical. We can look and be discerning. And that's how, and when we do that, I think that we are operating at that higher at that higher level. And being the best, working to be our best person and our best selves ever, so that we attract the person that we want and that we're looking for, and that makes us, at the end of the day, are we a better person because of the presence and the energies of those around us.
Right, Pam. So now we're at the point of the show where I want to make sure that if anybody has anything, we only have a couple minutes, and I definitely want to tell you guys about my workshop. Those of you who are on with me, I know, Barbara, you said that you just wrote your new book, or you just released your new book. If anybody has anything they want to talk about, they want to like get awareness around, they want to let people know, B-Cup classes, Jamie, if you want to talk about anything, who wants to go first? If you guys have anything, feel free, anything you want to plug, get people an awareness about, go ahead.
Can I mention the name of the book?
Of course you can. It's your book, honey.
Okay, well, the reason I was asking, you'll find out in a minute. The name of my book is Whatever the Fuck It Takes.
I love it. This is Orange Radio. You
It's a good title.
I love it.
And what that is basically is, what would you be and do if you were actually showing up as you, without all the stories, without all the, oh, I don't want to be wrong and I don't want to this, but just you, following everything that we said today, just your energy, and allowing that to do and pull you and create with you. How different would our lives be? And then how different would the planet be if we were all showing up, choosing for us and not against us? Because from the moment we come into this insane reality, it is perpetrated on us to choose against us, because that's what every generation did.
All right, say the name of the book again. We got 1 minute.
Okay, Whatever the Fuck It Takes.
Whatever the fuck it takes.
Whatever the fuck it takes.
Barbara Gilman. Barbara Gilman, Whatever the Fuck It Takes. Jamie, do you have something you want to pitch for V Club?
Yes, thank you. On Wednesday night, this Wednesday, January 9th from 7 to 9, we have a great workshop called Feminine Power in the Boardroom and the Bedroom, facilitated by Anita Boninger. So look that up on thevclub.com. Sign up for it. It's going to be fantastic. And then on Saturday, we have another workshop from another fantastic lady, Megwin White. It's called Unlocking Sexual Portals Through Your Face and Body.
Yes.
And that's this Saturday, January 12th, 1 to 4 p.m.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Thank you, Jamie. And then also I'm teaching my Peace, Purpose, and Partnership workshop on January 19th, which is a Saturday. And if you ever felt like you want someone who will admire your strengths, forgive your weaknesses, and support you through your wins and losses, you are ready for peace, purpose, and partnership. If you've ever wondered why it seems so difficult to relate, or why so many marriages end in divorce, or why your own ability to pick healthy partners feels flawed, you're not alone, and it's not your fault. We're not raised to know what it means to create healthy relationships. We're not often given the rites of passage required to be happy singles, and we rarely are given the emotional tools to relate with others in a way that creates wins for all involved. And fortunately, I say there are only 3 questions to ask ourselves. Am I living authentically? Do I honor my own desires? And do I have a healthy relationship with myself? I want you to come and take this workshop. I will put links for everything in the comments on the post on Facebook Live. And those of you on Armed Radio, I'll share it in the Armed Radio Group News. Join